then Greg was like telling me, well, you don't work hard, you should do classic physique. You're gonna laugh why. I'm gonna brush my hair.
I have to.
I sat down and I was like, oh man, what?
All
I was
right.
like, that needs to be brushed.
So, welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. We got Prince Boabang, IFBB Pro. Welcome, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, just a quick little explanation. Oh, there you go. Who's that? Team. Oh, McElroy. Nice. Is that your coach?
Yes, it is. For about 8 years now. 7 years to 8 years now.
Oh, goodness. So he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So we're just going to give a quick, brief rundown. So the people that might be joining for the first time, or just to put it out there, Bodybuilders Amateur Hours is primarily about amateur bodybuilding and people first coming into the sport and people in the sport looking to improve and getting better. And we love talking to everyone, amateurs, complete amateurs, novices, and then pros, giving amateurs the tips, your tricks, telling us about your life story, as in like coming up and your experiences as an amateur transferring into the pro leagues. So let's just dive right in there, big guy. So what was it like, and when did you start bodybuilding? And like, we don't know a lot about you. I think a lot of Princes, you're kind of like a mystery here in the East Coast. We know you have like the fucking best physique in Atlantic Canada and possibly Canada, but nobody knows much about you. And let's get it out there, dude. When did you start? Who influenced you? How did this godlike physique come about?
Thanks, man. That's big compliments. All right. Well, it was in university. I met these two guys, Ryan and my other friend Johnny Farah. And when I was hanging out with them, they were like, "Hey, man, do you know what bodybuilding is?" And I was like, "I've seen pictures of it. You know what I mean? I've seen Kevin LeBron and Ronnie Coleman on magazines before." And I was like, I used to like wrestling, so my first thought was, I wonder if they could beat like the Undertaker in wrestling. That's the first thing I thought of.
The Undertaker.
Yeah. So I was like, I wonder if they'd be good wrestlers. So my buddy was like, let me show you the picture of this guy. He had a poster of this guy in his room, and his name was Ryan Swan. And then he goes, this guy's like 18 years old. He's like the best bodybuilder from Truro, in Nova Scotia, and he's from Truro. And then he goes, you see this guy here? He goes, yeah. He goes, you can beat him if you try. And I was like, what do you mean, at bodybuilding or soccer? Because I played soccer back then. Right. And then he goes, bodybuilding. And I was like, okay. So then that was really it. And then I did like 2 shows and stuff like that back to back. And my first show, I enjoyed it and stuff. I got a taste of it. My second show, I was a little bit more competitive. My first show, I was a junior. I came second. And Ryan was actually there. He did come first because he was the best then. And then my second show, I came second myself, right? But when I was doing the shows, though, I mean, like, it was back then, you know, everything was natural and stuff like that, for one. And also, you know, actually, for me, it was. I don't know about the other guys. So, to be honest, I'd say just for me and not for, I can't speak
probably
for
if they were into it a little bit, if they were doing it a little bit longer, probably not. But
yeah. But I mean, when I started doing the shows, though, right, it was interfering with my school a little bit. So I thought I'd come back. But also, you know, I was a really good soccer player, so I always had high goals in soccer or track and field. Even track and field, I was ranked 5th in the country in my second year in university before I even got into bodybuilding and stuff like that. So I always try to, thanks, man. So I always try to be the best athlete I could possibly be. And when I looked at bodybuilding, and I did remember looking at Ronnie Coleman, and I was like, that's ridiculous. He's like 300 pounds, and I'm like 158 pounds. You know what I mean? I was like,
Hold on a second. You were 158 pounds when you started bodybuilding?
No. Okay.
I cannot imagine seeing you at 158 pounds.
No, I exaggerated a little bit. I was about 180 pounds. I was about 180.
That's a little, okay.
Right? Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So I exaggerated a little bit there. But, yeah. So I was just like, it didn't seem realistic though. But those are my first two shows and stuff, and it was a good experience and stuff. I think the best thing to have done would have been to finish school first, and then start getting into the bodybuilding scene and stuff like that, because you
Right.
wouldn't have had to think what's more important. You know what I mean? You could have been like, school's more important, finish that, and then do the bodybuilding, because it did take a couple of years. Like, it slowed me down a little bit in the progress of my school. But at the end of the day, I
I would
graduated and
imagine.
everything, so everything was fine. So yeah, but that was my very first shows, though. If you want to know a little bit more about shows after that, I can continue, unless if you have a different question.
Yeah, no, I'm really curious about like your first couple shows. Like, did you train with your buddies? Like
Oh,
how did
oh,
like what was your nutrition like? Who taught you
oh!
like the
You know what?
diet? What was your diet like for your first couple shows?
Well, you know what? I'll have to extend, because my first couple of shows was a really long time ago when I was really young. So I'm going to go into
Yep,
other shows too. But
for
the
sure.
first thing I have to remind you that my buddy uh, Rob Canan and Johnny Farrer were the one that told me to bodybuild and stuff like that, because they thought I had a bit of potential. But there was a guy named Carl Norton. He trains at Fitness Effects. He was the one that actually said, "Hey man, I'm going to put you through your first bodybuilding show." So he actually put me through the first bodybuilding show. And then he was like, yeah, man, like, once you get a coach and you get an understanding of this, you'll be very hard to beat. And then my second year, Roger King sponsored me from Supplement King for
Oh,
my
I
second
know
show.
Roger. Yeah, buddy of
Yeah,
mine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was awesome. So it made the show a lot easier. I had everything I needed. So those were my first two shows. And I mean, once I did get closer to graduate university, like around the time I was graduating, I did do another show in like 2009, where there was like, where that one was like, everybody that I'm about to say. It was basically, I won my class, Mike Johnson won his class,
Yeah.
Greg Doucette won his class, Scott McDonald won his class, and I can't remember the other one, but every single one of those guys,
Yeah.
right? From bodybuilding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was like a long time ago, and I was kind of like the kid among those guys. Now I guess I'm the grown up now, but that was like some of my
You're leading
first
the
few
way
shows and
now.
stuff like that. What's that?
So you're leading the way now, man.
I'm
Yeah.
trying, man. Well, I mean, the thing is, I'll tell you the truth. When it comes to bodybuilding, how I feel, like, it takes time and planning to really, really attack bodybuilders and give it all you got. You know what I mean? Because I could have went to
Yeah.
Toronto Super Pro Show, but I wasn't ready. Because if I started dieting down and like as strict as I really wanted to, I would have been a lot closer to 212 than I would have been to open class. I would have been like 218. So you can tell what's gonna happen with your body when you start dieting, that due to like the muscle density. Like, if you're starting off at like 8% body fat, you're not gonna lose too much. You're not going to lose too much muscles. You know what I mean? Because you're already so. But if you're starting off with like 12 or 15% body fat, you're going to lose a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
So
You're gonna.
depending on how lean you were. So I was about 12% body fat around that time. So what I did was, at that weight of 240
Like
to 240. So yeah,
around
what's up?
what around sorry around what time? What show are you talking about?
I'm talking about just recently what I'm doing right now, right? I'm just
Okay.
kind of giving you a quick history.
Right.
So what I did, bro, instead of competing at the Toronto Super Pro Show, where I knew I would have lost the weight, I dieted in such a way that I stayed at about 242 pounds, but I went from 8% body fat. I mean, 12% body fat to about 8% body fat. But it took me about 2 months to do it, because I was eating a lot of protein and enough carbs, but not too much to make me gain too much weight, but not enough to make me lose weight. This just to kind of change, like, get leaner and kind of maintain my weight, like a lot of red meat as well and stuff like that, right? So that's what I was able to do, and because I was able to do that, when I started cutting down for the Vancouver Pro Show that I am now, I didn't lose too much weight. I'm still over 230 pounds, but if I would have done the Toronto Super Pro Show, I'd probably be more like 220. I would
Right.
have lost more weight. So that's why it's like, when you're not ready, you're not ready. That's why even this year people talk about, what do you think? Can you make Olympia? First of all, let me tell you something, Josh. This is hilarious. Okay, people
Okay.
give me
Yes.
a lot. This is hilarious. People give me a lot of credit and a lot of like props and stuff about how they think if I'm like 30 pounds bigger, it's said and done. Which I don't disagree with, because I've seen me at like 240 and stuff, and it looks pretty
Pretty.
good, right?
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But the thing is this, though. I put on this story one time, or no, not a story. This reel one time, and it went viral. I had about 70,000 views on it, right? And I was checking some of the comments.
Nice.
There were so many. There were so many I couldn't read them all. And then this guy goes, "Oh my God! why isn't this guy at the Olympia yet? And then this guy
I
go, and then
think
this
I
guy,
seen that comment.
yeah,
I've
and then
seen
did
that
you,
reel, and I think I seen
yeah,
that comment. Yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean? And then this guy goes, because whoever probably came 15th in the Olympia can probably beat him. And I was like, that is hilarious. Because he's thinking,
yeah,
well, if you're saying he should be in Olympia, that means is he 15th best in the world right now? You know what I mean? Because that's what the
right.
Olympia is. You know what I
That's
mean?
pretty much,
So
yeah.
when
That
he
is
said
it.
that, I was like, that is hilarious. He was cutting me up, but I just thought it was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Well, dude, that's really funny. It's you can people that are watching right now can go find that reel on your Instagram.
I
It's
know.
it's it's pretty impressive. But like,
Yeah,
yeah, there's so many comments, and I was actually reading through them too. I seen that, and I was just
yeah,
like, oh my, okay.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
like that's still like, it's a little dig at you, but fuck, it's still a compliment, right?
No, no, I thought it was hilarious because
Yeah,
the thing is, it's like it's just honesty, and that's all you want, you know.
yeah,
Because sometimes, like with friends, especially and stuff like that, people are scared to be honest with bodybuilders and stuff like that. But if you're not honest with bodybuilders and stuff like that, you're gonna be leaving them to make all the decisions. Because
right.
if you're not honest with them, they can't rely on your opinion, and they got to rely solely on what they think of themselves in order to make themselves where they need to be, right? So honesty in bodybuilding is very important. So
It's
I
yeah,
liked it. I thought it was just hilarious because the thing is, you'd be like, well, like sometimes there's people that make the Olympia that aren't that good, but then there's people that place 10th in the Olympia that are like insanely good, like where you're like, man,
yeah,
I don't even know how that guy came 10th. I thought he would have came like third. So it's really hard to call it. So just to
yeah,
be even talked about among them, it's enough like of credit. You know what I mean?
right. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we have some people wondering about your diet. Like, I've heard rumors that you would be competing and you would be like 3 weeks out eating donairs. Is that true? Like, it's
That's
like
obviously not true. I don't know what
I
I
don't know,
eat.
man. I heard a lot of people talking shit. They're like, Prince eats donairs on his diet, and he's like a couple of weeks out, and like
No,
he's
no,
pounding
no.
back gravy and shit.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, people would be like, "There's a Nova Scotia show," and they think that I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm not doing a Nova Scotia show. I won that like 3 years ago, and then
Right.
like, they see me eating a donair, and I'm in shape, so they think I'm about to do a show. Like, if they would have asked me like, well, "How many weeks out are you actually?" I would never be eating a donair. That's the silliest thing. Like, how can you eat a donair and end up with like 4% body fat?
I don't know,
You know what I
man.
mean?
You're a freak.
Yeah, but
Okay, so then
anyway,
what's your
no.
diets like? And what was your
Well,
diets
for
like
the
when you were
diet,
going into your first couple shows?
for the diet for the first couple of shows, it was pretty simple. I mean, you didn't have a lot to go on a lot of, back in those days, and they didn't complicate it. Like you weren't like eating a lot of fancy fish and all these type of stuff. It was just basically like tuna and steaks to make you big, tuna to make you lean, and then the lean protein with the tuna to keep lean, right? And then like egg whites and stuff like that. So it was pretty simple and stuff like that. I mean, once in a while you'd eat like chicken and stuff like that. But back when we were doing chicken back in the day, chicken
Yeah.
would always seem to be like not cooked properly because and being like that young, you don't really know how to make food in the oven as well and stuff like that. So you kind of stuck with the basic and stuff. It was easy to just whip up some tuna and then some eggs and stuff like that, and like a steak, just barbecue or fry it, right? So that's how it was. And now it's still got a little bit of the same. I don't really eat tuna that much, but I eat a lot of steak, at least especially in the off season if I'm trying to get bigger. I eat a lot of chicken breasts and stuff like that. I would say even more fish, like a lot of salmon, and then I also eat a lot of tilapia when I'm trying to get lean, like just
Right.
completely
Nice.
white fish and stuff like that. So that's what the basics of it is. And I try to eat my broccoli and stuff like frozen and stuff. I get a little bit sick of it, and I start eating real salad, and then I go back to the frozen veggies. I find the frozen broccoli, like just a consistent pile of it, is the best quantity of veggies you can get, really.
Oh, 100%. I agree. I go to Costco, I get fucking bags full of it, right?
Yeah,
And then it's just so easy. It's all chopped up, easy, just throw it in your food. By the
yeah,
time like
exactly,
you can either
exactly.
microwave it or by the time you go to eat it, it's like later on in the day, it's thawed and you're just like, fuck, whatever. You get to the
Yeah,
point where it's like you don't even care anymore really what things taste
yeah,
like, especially when you're so far into the diet. But
exactly. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. So like right now, what would you wake up in the morning? What would a typical day be for eating
Uh,
right now at 3 weeks out?
I'd mix some oats. I would say it's about a cup of oats once it's even cooked. So not very much oats at all, really a cup of oats. And I probably have anywhere from 6 to 8 egg whites. Depend if I it depends sometimes how much protein I've been eating. So sometimes late at night I'd have like a chicken breast or a steak at night, and then I'll just tell Andrew about it that I had like a little bit of extra protein, which he didn't mind. He said no extra carbs, but he didn't mind the protein and stuff like that, right?
That's good.
So I start off with like maybe some egg whites and oats, and then I'd have to eat some steak and rice because at this point, Andrew wants me to eat the steak at earlier in the day. He doesn't really want me to go to sleep with like a steak in my body, right?
Like
So I eat
the heavy,
earlier in the
slow
day.
digesting stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, and it also gives you energy to work out too, right? And you can burn it off, right? And then
Yeah.
in the nighttime, I would say like maybe 1 or 2 chicken breasts and maybe 3 or 4 pieces of tilapia with rice and sweet potato. That'd be like my nighttime meals.
Right. Doesn't sound
Yeah,
bad at
and
all.
then for the
So, I don't
yeah.
hear any protein powders and stuff in there. You don't
Oh,
bother with
sorry. Yeah,
that? Some
I
people
have
do, some people
scoop.
don't.
I have 2 scoops after every workout, and then sometimes I have a scoop at nighttime. Like if I feel a little bit of a hunger at nighttime, and I'm like, well, if you're eating all your meals, you shouldn't eat anymore. Then I'd have like a
Right.
scoop of protein or something like that. But oh, every time after the workout, and most of the time at nighttime, close to bedtime.
Right. So yeah, it's like you're still having something in your body, so you're not like fucking wasting away. Not like
Yeah.
not like you have a problem with that, but
Yeah, and then and for calorie counts on the off season, I try to stay close to 6,000. Normally around 5,700 to 6,000, but I try to stay close to 6,000.
so
Uh, about
that
eight
sounds like a
weeks
lot
out,
to
I'm
most people. But how heavy are you normally in your off season? So people can get like an
between
idea.
between 240 and 250 on the off season. Yeah, right now between
Right.
240 and 250. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely need all the calories, especially when it's
Yeah.
mostly healthy food too, right? So you don't
Like
really
that's a
put on a
lot
lot
of
of weight
food.
unless it's quality weight. Yeah, you know what I
Right.
mean. So, but about 8 weeks out, I'm about 5,000, and about 3 weeks out, right, like right now, I'm about 4,000.
That's still a lot of food. Most people, that's
Not really.
more food than most people consume in a day on the an average.
Yeah.
Even in like normal people don't even consume that in 2 days. But so it's true,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. I looked at my meal program, and I can have up to 6 meals a day, and you're looking at every single meal is about 700 calories. Plus, you're gonna have drinks and stuff like that, like your
Yep.
protein shakes, maybe 2 or 3 of them. Plus, I drink like orange juice, like no sugar added and nothing like that, you know.
Oh, nice.
So
That
it
stuff's
adds up.
good. It does. All the
Yeah,
little like all the little extras. It all adds up. The cal like
yeah,
your toppings, the drinks. It
yeah.
all you got to account for it. Some people don't, and I found some
They
people find it
don't.
really
I feel.
yeah. Some people
I
find
feel they
it
don't.
like
That's why. Yeah.
no. Go ahead.
So I feel they don't. That's why a lot of people say they eat like 3,000 calories a day. But I'm like, but you drank a Monster energy drink before the gym,
Right.
and you drink protein shake. That's like 1,000 calories. So when they say 3,000, they don't even know that it's actually 4,000.
No,
You know what I
what
mean?
they're not including like the barbecue sauce that they put on their chicken or their salad dressings or all
Exactly.
that shit. Yeah. So yeah,
Exactly.
so it's
Exactly.
you gotta account for everything, especially if you're having a hard time or if you're plateaued in weight. People, you gotta
Yeah.
really take into account all the extras, like you know, the cream that you put in your coffee, all that stuff.
Oh, I know. But see, that's the thing too. I find that um, like often I use calorie wise like sauce and stuff like that. But sometimes though I use sauce that I do like with a little bit of extra calories. But the only thing is I take away like 25% of my rice. You know what I mean? So I just eat a little bit more carbs, and then like I have less carbs in me and a little bit extra fat from the sauce,
From your
basically, right?
sauces and whatnot,
Yeah,
sugars.
so sometimes, because sometimes the calorie wise stuff, oh man, it does not taste good, right? But
No,
but you know, but
no,
sometimes
it's not the best.
you know,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's like it's what you should do, right? So I do it anyway. But I know that the odd times I'm like, you know what? I'll just decrease my carbs and I'll put a little bit of barbecue sauce on this and just enjoy the meal. You know what I mean? And
right.
then it always works out for me. I mean, cutting carbs, like nothing, like your body basically fuels off carbs. So once you
Yep.
don't have carbs, you're fueling off fat. You know what I mean? So that's how it goes, right? So
It's pretty,
cutting
yeah,
carbs is
exactly.
always the best way to get lean. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's like, so would you prefer to decrease carbs before increasing cardio output?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the cardio, it's always good for you. Like you're sweating and your heart's pumping and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? It's good for your body to burn off more calories and put it back into your body and stuff like that. So I always promote the cardio, even though I don't do it all the time. I'm gonna probably do it more often and stuff because even it improves your endurance too, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Well, like
but
when
I
you're
find the
training.
cardio just oh yeah, but the cardio is just way more effective when you're on like calorie deficit. When you're supposed to be eating 6,000 calories and you're eating 4,000, and you do the cardio either right after the workout when you have no food in your body and you're just
Yeah.
basically running on fumes, or you do it in the morning as soon as you wake up before you even do anything at all. You drink a bottle of water and basically go do cardio in the morning before you even eat anything, like fasted cardio. So that's the best time to see the results from the cardio, where you the weights come off really fast, your glutes get lean and all that stuff, your legs get leaner and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to be able to hit cardio when you have almost no glycogen in your system, right? So it turns into a fat
Exactly.
usage.
That's
So,
exactly it.
yeah. All right, so let's. I'll just sum it up to the question asks, do you have any tips or tricks for traveling? So you've been all over the Canada pretty much, and like,
Book your flight early. That's the
okay,
first fucking. That's the first tip, right? If you want a cheap flight, to commit to the show early. Book your flight early. Aside from that, I'd bring my own food, and for the most part, because you can order meals from some of the fit meals, but unless if you like already know the fit meal, like know that you want the food, you've had it before and stuff. I bring some of my own food and maybe try something. You know what I mean? But food that you've been eating the whole prep is what I would suggest and stuff. And also bring extra money so you can have fun after.
have fun afterwards. Yeah.
But the most
Uh,
important thing, book your flight early though, for sure. And also stay safe. You know what I mean? You're up from out of town, so stick to the program. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Good. Yeah, that's really important. I like that.
Yeah.
Would you go like a day or two before, or do you go like a week before? Say if you're when you're traveling to Vancouver, did you go stay there, train in Vancouver, then compete like a week or two out, or were you literally just flying there, check in the next day, and then compete that weekend?
2 days out. 2 days out. So the only thing I would do is cardio the next morning, and then I would start to carb up on Thursday, and then Friday I would have the weigh in, right? But 2 days out is normally when I go to the when I first get there. So then I'd do just one cardio and then carb up for like 2 days, basically. So
Nice.
yeah, like normally I'm there either Wednesday or sometimes Thursday if it's early Thursday. But normally
Very
I'm there
cool.
on like Wednesday.
So you just go a couple days early, just in case you like retain water from the flight or whatnot, or
Yeah, and yeah, and it's also good to have a sweat. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like do a nice cardio session, and even if you feel like it, train a little bit lightly. You know what I mean? Because like if you have the whole Friday off to recover, and to be honest, when we're training nowadays, like I feel like I can train it every day. I don't even take any days off. You know what I mean? To be honest, but the thing is though,
yeah,
if you train your chest really hard, of course you can go back and do your back, but your chest will be sore for a couple of days, but you won't
yeah.
have to train it for 4 or 5 days, so it'll be okay by then. So that kind of makes sense. So you don't really want to train too close to your show because maybe three of your muscles might be healed, but two of them that you just trained lately might not be healed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it still
Yeah.
could be. Yeah, they could be completely depleted, and it might take extra amount of time to carb up. Or if
Yeah.
you're on stage flexing, you don't want to be. Yeah, you want to be comfortable, right?
Exactly.
Hitting your
Exactly.
poses.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings me into. I got a question. Probably about 3 or 4 people have asked me. I just want to know your opinion. Uh, this is a comment from Greg Doucette. And I was actually talking to Greg today, and he's like, "You got to ask him this." So I was like, "Okay." It's like, so don't kill me. Don't. It's this is
Okay.
coming from Greg,
Okay.
and he made a comment like a year or so ago in one of his videos, and he called you out about not training hard. And if you trained harder than you do now, you would be on the Olympia stage. Do you remember that, or
Uh,
did you hear about that comment?
yeah. First of all, that was 2019 because
All right, that was a
my
while
my
ago.
first
Yeah.
my my
Yeah.
my debut pro show, I almost won. I was in the middle for the most part, right? And
Yeah.
then I ended up coming third because they said that my back was not as lean as my front. I got my glutes needed a little bit more work, you know. But to be honest, that would have been a little bit scary because I've only been a pro for like 6 months. To go to straight to the Olympia after 6 months,
Yeah.
I
That
wasn't even sure
would.
if I was ready for that, you know. So that's why he flipped out because there was like 15, 20 competitors, and I beat like 18 of them. You know what I mean? So he was like, how the fuck did he do that if he doesn't train? So Greg likes attention and stuff like that. He likes jerking around and stuff like that, making exaggerating things and stuff. But like first of all, I can bench press 380 pounds, and you can't bench press 380 pounds from just lifting one day. You have to gradually build up for like years and years. And to be
Years.
honest,
Yeah.
on a Smith machine, I can even do 400 pounds. So how can I do all that if I don't train hard? Yeah, before it seemed like I wasn't training hard because I didn't really want to bodybuild. I was hanging out with my friends and shit. So why would you even bother talking to me about it? Because he's actually been bodybuilding for like 30 years,
Yeah.
where
It's a long
I've
time.
I've been I've been doing it on and off, but actually bodybuilding maybe 8 or 9 years. But the other years I
That's.
wasn't bodybuilding. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Right.
that's why. So he thinks that we're like the same people and we're like came up the same eras and he could have done whatever. I'm much younger than Greg. I'm like 10 years younger than Greg for one. You know what I mean? So, but I do understand what he's saying because that's like some of the things he's saying because I was like, but I wasn't trying to be a bodybuilder when he was saying all these things. This was like 2013. I didn't even do a show. I was like hanging out with my friends and stuff like going to the
Right.
bars. So I don't know why he would say that. So that's just him saying that. And plus, right now, Greg told me to do classic physique. He said, yeah, cut down to like 205 on stage and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? If I listen to him, I'd be like 205 right now. But instead, I'm like 240 pounds and lean and doing open class bodybuilding. And nothing against classic physique. But why would you tell somebody with huge calves, arms, and chest and legs to go drop down the weight and do classic physique? And even the 212 was too small for me because the 212 guys that I was competing against, like except for like one or two of them, most of them were like 5 foot like 3, 5'6", 5'7",
Yep.
and stuff. They're short. I'm like the second tallest 212. I've only seen one 212 ever that was taller than me. I'm like the second tallest ever. So you gotta understand that. Like if anything, I had to be bigger. The open class bodybuilders, except for like Nick Walker and maybe Hadi Truman and even Derek Lunsford, the rest of them are much taller than me. But those three who are right now the top three or at least in the top five, they're all about my height and they're all about 250, 240 or something like that. So they're all about 10,
They're hitting
15
around
pounds
that
more
mark.
than me,
Yep.
but they're all about my height though. But the 212s were much shorter than me. So, and Greg, like, imagine this: if I do open class, and let's just say, if not this year, but next year I make the Olympia, and then Greg was like telling me, "Well, you don't work hard, you should be doing classic physique and all these things," because Greg seen it as the easy way out. He was like, "If you do that, it'll be easier. You'll be on less gear, less whatever." And even one guy even told me, "Don't do the open class because of all the gear you have to do." I'm like, what are they talking about? I'm like, what gear? I'm like, where is it? I'll buy some right now. Like, well, I don't even know
Like
what they're even talking about, right? All I know is the basics, and that's all I took to get here. I didn't take anything different than when I was doing Mr. Nova Scotia, and
yeah.
I am now. It's all the same stuff. So I don't even know what drugs these guys are talking about. Like, if
I
there
think
is
that's a
something,
really
then
big
someone can tell me about it.
Yeah, I think
What's
that's a
that?
really big misconception about
Yeah,
like those guys and like you and like the top athletes were taking like very little to almost like as little as possible, right?
yeah.
We want health and longevity in this sport. So it's like the people that got to pound away all the gear are the people that really don't have it and that really need that little extra push, right?
Exactly.
It's-
To be honest, like even and maybe like yourself too. I'm natural 6 months of the year. Now that I'm open class, maybe I'll be natural 4 or 5 months of the year, and maybe a little bit more. But but when I was doing the 212, I was natural 6 months of the year. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially like yeah, coming off everything and like just letting your body come back to normal is just friggin' I think not enough people do it and it's
Yeah.
just
Not
it's
enough. And,
not enough.
and yeah, yeah, exactly. And on top of that, some people were like, kind of like, getting at me for doing it. They're like, "Why would you do that? Like, if you want to make it in this sport, you got to be on gear the whole time." I'm like, that sounds very unhealthy. You know what I mean? That's like how you have like problems in the for sure in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You can't be. Yeah, the blast and cruise idea and the mentality is not always the best. It works for some, but like if you're looking at longevity and just healthy and having a great retirement afterwards, yeah, we have to play it smart, right?
yeah,
Especially with,
exactly,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
that answers the Greg question. So like I said, and sometimes when Greg was saying that about me, I wasn't even a bodybuilder because Greg is from like 2010 and 2000 like 12 and stuff like that. And like some of those times, I wasn't really bodybuilding. I was just hanging out with my friends. So like he has a misconception of what was going on. You know what I mean? Like if you see
right,
me since, I'd say I trained hard even when I was 2016. I used to even bench and lift more than I do now. But I would say that my consistent training has been since 2018 Canadian Championships. Like I always make sure I always finish my workout. And sometimes if I cool on and off too much, I kind of get mad at myself. And then I extend my workout a little bit more. And then I make sure I do enough reps in a row where my muscles get warmed up again and then tired and then
and
even more
back at it.
tired when I do my drop sets. You know what I mean? So I always try to make sure I complete my workouts though. So but yeah, about that stuff Greg was saying, like I said, he has it from a different time zone because he doesn't really know me like that. Like I wasn't
Right.
trying to be a bodybuilder when he was having all these opinions. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about. I was like, I'm not doing any shows. So
Fair enough. No,
yeah,
no, it's great to hear your perspective because I seen that
yeah,
episode a long time ago, and I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, I wonder how he's gonna respond. But it's been like
yeah,
years in the making. Like, I'm finally really glad to ask that and like kind of get
yeah,
your side of it out after many years, which
yeah,
I think a lot of people were kind of waiting for. So that's exciting,
yeah. That's good.
and that
Yeah,
makes sense what you're saying too. And it's like back then, yeah, when you weren't like
yeah,
fully immersed into it, when you didn't really have a an achievable like a goal set.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
we weren't even thinking about that. You wanted to go out with your friends. I was like, I want to go to the beach, and then later on, I wanted to go to the club. That's what I said to myself. And then Greg's like, he's not trying. And then Greg's like, he's not trying very hard at the gym. I'm like, what am I trying hard for again? You know what I mean? I wasn't even doing the show. So
right.
that explains that anyway.
Yeah. Do you even train your calves? Like you have ridiculous calves.
I train them, but not often enough because the thing is, the calves is it's never my weakness. But if I remember to train them, I train them. It's just that I don't split my leg workouts. I do it all at once, and which is exhausting and very
Yeah.
time consuming. So sometimes I get so exhausted that like I can't even finish my leg workout after like 2 hours. I do like 8 exercises and I have like one or two more in mind and I can't complete it. And sometimes I walk out without the calves, but the calves, if any of my muscles take care of themselves without me training them, whether I train them enough, they take care of themselves the best out of all my muscles for sure. But I
Yeah.
train them, I would say closer to showtime, I train them like once a week for like 2 months. But like before that, not really. I just train legs really hard, and the whole the whole lower body grows.
Just kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, but it's good to train them individually though. It will
Oh, yeah.
improve it. Yeah.
What does someone your size run for gear? If would it be the same as someone that's maybe like 200 pounds, 180 pounds, or 240? Like, is there differences? And what are you running?
Yeah, there is definitely a difference in stuff like that because it's like even like anything. Like if you're like a 150 pound guy, you can probably take one Tylenol and your headache will go away. If you're a 250 pound guy, you probably might need two Tylenol for your pain or headache to go away. So I definitely think the size does make a difference, but the gear it doesn't really have to be that like extreme and that like looked at as like the key or the success and stuff of that because I would say I went from 212 to open class and I would say I only increased the gear by like 10-15%. You know what I mean? So not really that much. And how much am I taking? I start off with like 500 tests. And even then, I feel like even that's a lot to start off with. I'd rather start off with like 300 tests. But, I haven't had a lot of time to do what I wanted to do
Right.
because last year when I came out to the gym, I was 180 pounds. So I trained natural till I was about 220 pounds. Then I took some gear after about 4 months. I feel like about 4 months later, I took some gear and I went up to about 245 pounds. But I had to take a break, so I took a break after a while. And then when I decided to come back, the shows were like 4 months away, 5 months away. So you can't do an off season and then and then the prep, you have to kind of like go from like half of an off season straight into the show. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
technically need about 6 months if you want to, bulk up and then cut, right? But when you have like 4 months, you can't really bulk for very long. You got to lose the weight soon. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that was different. But I would say even guys my size, I would start off with like 300, maybe 500 if you want to be like that. But go up to about, I'd say 800 is what I've gone up to. I always said I was gonna go to 1,000, but it always seems
Oh,
like too much
grams.
to go to
Crazy.
1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never done 1,000, right? And then as far as like the trend and stuff like that go, if it's trend ends and stuff, well, let's talk about Deca first because off season,
Sure.
Deca
Yep.
will probably be like maybe 300 to 400 Deca. I would say D-ball or Anadrol. I take probably like one or two pills a day. If it's Anadrol, probably just one pill a day because of 50 milligrams. Um, Deca, sometimes EQ, like I said, about 300 or 400. Test will be start about, let's say 400, take it up to 800. And during the prep, a little bit of Winnie and trend mass. And the trend in the trend is a little bit higher at about 500. So I do use a little bit extra trend. But the mass would be at about 200 or 300. And test will still stay at about 800 until about 3 weeks to the show, and I start decreasing the test a little bit and stuff like that.
Nice.
I mean,
Yep.
it gets more complicated than that, right? And I take Clen and stuff like that for like to get my cardio on and stuff like that. It gets a little bit complicated than that, but that's like a short explanation of it, though.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
kind of like just goes through, runs through everything that you're doing, and then
yeah,
that's probably
exactly.
all monitored by your coach, I'm assuming, and also,
Oh yeah, yeah. I tell him
yeah,
everything, and then he like confirms with me and stuff like that. He's like, what are you planning on doing?" And then he tells me what I should do, and he asks me what I want to do, and then we kind of mitigate and stuff like that.
yeah. What kind of training style do you do? Do you do like high intensity? Do you do low reps, high reps? And if I train like you do, will I look like you? How does that work, man?
Exactly, you will look exactly like me if you train like me. Okay.
Oh shit! I've been doing it wrong for years. What do you do there? Tell me the secrets.
All right. Well, this is what I do, right? See, and when I start, and I normally say if I do a show, then I come off gear and I start all over again. I normally start with decent sized weights, but not too high because by that time I'm eating food. I find food is one of the main things. Like that's your strength. Is what you're eating. You know what I mean? And also the
Yep.
muscle that you build up to date. You know what I mean? So when I start eating food, even if I'm off gear, I can still lift. I can go start off the gym with like 2.5 plates and stuff like that, and then work myself to up to 4 plates within a couple months and stuff like that, right? So that's what I do. But I mean, in terms of right now, or let's say off season, I lift heavy. But when I lift heavy, I don't normally lift something that I can't do more than at least 5 or 10 times. And even if I'm only doing it 5 times, it's normally at the end of the workout where I'm dead tired. So it's almost like a drop set. You know what I mean? Like I'd never
Get
do
you. Yep.
anything once. I never do anything once or twice and stuff like that. The least amount of sets I'll do would be at least five. And like I said, if it's five, it's because I've been doing it all day, all night, and I'm dead tired at the end, and that's basically all I got left in me. You know what I mean?
Nice. So are you hitting like you're like so most of your sets are around the 10 rep range.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. I say that's the minimum I can do
Minimum.
because when I'm prepping for shows and stuff like that, once I start increasing the weights and stuff, I start doing like reps of like 15, 20, and then once the weights increase to a certain amount, I can only do it about 10 times,
Yeah.
and then I
Okay.
start decreasing the weights again, and then to do my drop sets, and then I can do a little bit more reps. But then again, I'm already so tired that I can still only push about 5 to 10, even when I decrease the weight because I'm so tired from it, right? So, but
Gotcha.
that's just my minimum. But most of the time, I go from I would say 12 to 20. You know what I mean? Reps. So I try
Right.
to do high reps and stuff like that because the more reps you're doing, your body's burning off. It's basically like building muscle. You're tearing your muscles apart every single rep that you do. So the more you can do, like training to
Yep.
failure, it's exactly what gets you to the next level. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So when you train to failure, you giving it your all, and basically the only thing you have left to do is to go feed it properly so you can recover. You know what I mean? So that's why I do that because the high reps, is training to failure. And you heard that before.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're hitting the hypertrophy, and you're just like you're breaking it down. That's exact.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So someone wants to know what was it like winning your pro card. So for all the amateurs that are coming up and that are trying to get their pro cards, or people that are starting and thinking that they're really awesome, and not even before they even do the first show, they're like pro card in their mind. Like what was it like for you to get your pro card, and what do you say to those people that are trying to achieve it?
Well, you know what it is? I would like to say it's like being free from jail or something like that, because you're stuck in this constant battle trying to get out of there, right? And it's like being free from jail, but that's a negative way to look at it. It's not like being free from jail, but it's almost like getting wings and all of a sudden you can fly. You know what I mean? That's what the
Yeah, yeah.
difference is. It's like you go from being able to walk to being able to fly. And like I said, when I'm getting my pro card, the first thing I'm thinking about is that who will I be probably up against? Because if you're thinking about getting your pro card, you probably already placed pretty well at nationals before, and you know it's possible, right? So I'm thinking about who I'm up against, and then also you're thinking about instantly the athletes that you're going to be going up against when you get your pro card, because it's a big welcoming community too. When you get your pro card, like 7 pro athletes from Canada will share your story and all welcome you as a pro. And those are going to be your competitors, but they're also going to be your friends, right? So it starts like a new
That's
family,
nice.
right? But the best way to explain it though, is just like you basically get wings and you can all of a sudden fly instead of walk. You can fly and you can just take off to anywhere. That's like the difference the pro card.
Uh, uh, that's a
Yeah,
fantastic way to explain it. I've never heard it quite like that before, and that's really nice.
it's true. It's true. It's like you take a deep breath and then all of a sudden you're soaring through the sky like an eagle. That's
That's
pretty much what it's
amazing.
like. Yeah, and
All
then, and
right.
then also, I mean, when you turn pro, like you can't keep up with the news. If you go on Instagram, on YouTube, you type up your name, it's everywhere for like months and months and months and months. So it's so busy you can't even keep up with it. You know
Uh,
what I mean?
actually, that's it sounds awesome, but also hard too. But really, like
Yeah.
an enjoyable pain, kind of.
Oh yeah. No,
Right?
it's all enjoyable. There's barely any pain. Really, the pain is suffering from the diet. I don't even think the training ever gets too hard, because you train and you get tired and then you got to stop almost even, and then you get a little bit more tired and then you stop. But the dieting, like being like starving when you've already eaten and stuff like that, going through that for months, that's probably the only real pain you feel, because the training, I love it. It's too easy. The dieting, you got to do it. That's what
Yeah.
it is. You got to do it if you want to win.
So on that way, and on that note, before we head out, is there anything else you want to say to everyone that's watching and like the amateurs and everyone that's coming up and trying to chase what you have achieved?
Well, the best thing is this. First of all, like bodybuilding, like any sport, once you make it, you will find a nice source of income from it, right? But until you do, you got to understand that you're a citizen, and I would advise that you work like everybody else, and then you also try to get sponsors and stuff for that. But you'd have to get a really big sponsor or 3 or 4 sponsors for you to actually be off work, especially at the amateur level, right?
Right.
Or like I said, a really big sponsor. So that's the best thing with me. I worked as an athlete. Even when I got my pro card, I continued to work and stuff. And I know a lot of the big guys didn't. But the fact is though, is that I also have an income from bodybuilding, from all the shows that I've won, from the training programs that I've helped my friends with, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of makes it a sweet deal, because if you're willing to sacrifice and work at the gym, and then also go to work like 9 to 5 and stuff like that, and then always manage and prep your time and make it to the gym every day, no matter what, it pays off, because it's like you have 2 jobs, 2 incomes, and you're also in great shape. And then especially if you have your pro card, it gives you like a nice like future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something to look forward to. But I mean, even if you're not a pro, I mean, if you love it, do it and love it. And sometimes the best community are like the small communities, like the ones we have in Maritimes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Pro is about status and money and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly status. I care more about being the best than making money. Obviously, at the end of the day, who doesn't want money, right?
yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
care about being the best more than anything. I actually want to be number one. If I had the second biggest income, but I was the number one bodybuilder, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with that. So
Yeah.
that's the thing with it. And then also, be safe and stuff like that. But like the steroids aren't gonna save you or make everything change and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like anything. You got to start off a little bit slow, and then you're gonna figure out at some point where your body says that's enough, and then you got to focus more on the hard work and not more on the supplements and stuff like that. So be safe and stuff like that, right? And also, just like anything else too, be nice to people and stuff. Because in the past, I haven't really been mean to anybody, but I've had a lot of back and forth argument, normally about who's better and who's not and stuff. But at the end of the day, you end up becoming friends with everybody. Yeah. But sometimes you get a little bit mad at each other and you say things that you don't really mean and stuff like that. So it's just better to be nice. Like even sometimes, even this year, I was kind of edgy and stuff like that. Like somebody was gonna come and challenge me or something like that, or
challenge
someone was gonna say that I wasn't good enough
right.
or something. And I was
high school.
edgy. And then after a while, everybody was so nice to me. I was like, I don't even know why I was even being like that. So then I was like, I was nice anyway, but I decided always just be nice, because there's a lot of gifts in this world that maybe you've gotten some of. So just appreciate it and help others when you can, and be nice to everybody. And like it's impossible not to be, because everybody's so nice. Mostly at Fitness Effects, the Good Life is a little bit more private. I don't really talk too much to too many people there, but Fitness Effects, there's like a big group of us, and everybody's nice to each other. They help each other with posing, diets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's really good. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's good to have a positive attitude. But I'll tell you though, sometimes though, if you do have a little bit of chip on your shoulder, and you have something to prove, and you and maybe some of the athletes don't get along, being angry does make you work harder sometimes. Because you feel like you got something to prove. But and
it fuels the fire a little bit.
Strong. It does make you strong, and it focuses you a little bit. But to have a goal and to have a ambition to just work hard and reach that goal, and to be the greatest you can, that beats your anger and your frustration and the pure. You know what I mean? Because when you have a goal and you have a plan, when you have a goal and you have a plan, you also use your brain. So you'll be strategic, right? Normally when you're angry, your strategy level goes down a little bit. You know what I mean? You're just raw energy. You know what I mean? So
usually that's like injuries can happen that way too, for sure. You're not really.
Oh yeah, injury. Yeah, exactly. Injuries happen all the time due to anger, and you think you can do this when you're not really ready to,
anger
and stuff like that. Just mad. Yeah, exactly. But when you have like ambition and you have like like a goal set in mind, and you get to think about it, you get to plan, and you get to kind of when you plan it and you get to mitigate each and every step, it's much better than just raw energy. Because when you're smart about it, intelligence is a part of it. That's why some people are better than others, because they're smarter than others. Some people are smarter than others. That's why they're better. Sometimes even with the better genetics, the really, really smart, hard-working athlete might have the edge. So that's why being intelligent is a part of the game.
Awesome way to finish it off, big guy.
Yeah, for sure, man. I had a great time. Man.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. Thanks a lot, man.
All right.
Love chatting with you, and we'll catch up with you after the Vancouver show.
Okay, for sure, man. Thanks a lot, brother. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, awesome,
and next time will be a lot better. It'll be a lot better prepared next time too. Okay, I haven't done this before, so at least I know how it's like now.
We'll throw in a little bit of editing, and we'll be all good, dude. It'll be fine.
All right, brother. All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
It was great chatting, man.
All right, you too. Bye.
See ya.